Glad you're back. Okay, that was awkward and didn't work, but I don't know how to do a good intro yet, so we're gonna keep that for now. Or at least for this video. Yeah. Okay, so have finished the mock-up dress for Elena, but while we're waiting for her to actually be able to pick it up, try it on, and see if that size is gonna fit, I am going to move on to another project for Elena. And this one's gonna be hopefully a little more fun, though maybe a little bit more complicated too, because it's a stuffy or a stuffed animal. In this case, a dragon. Now, how did I happen to decide to do this? Funny story. When Joann's first announced that it was going bankrupt, I went to the store, I guess it was probably maybe the first or second week. And during that time, they were running a sale on their patterns. And so I think it was all patterns were $1.99 except Vogue, and they were like $4.99. And I thought, oh, hey, stock up on patterns. I love stocking up on patterns. But I also don't like the disappointment I feel when I'm flipping through the books and I find a pattern I really like, and then I go to the cabinets and it's not there. They don't have it in stock. I hate that feeling. And I also hate digging through drawers that are like on the bottom shelf or the bottom drawers. So I decided that I would eliminate both of those issues by just standing at the tallest drawer and just flipping through them to see if there were any that I liked. And if they weren't in my size, it wasn't a huge disappointment. I just kept flipping. And while I was flipping through the Simplicity drawer, I happened upon Simplicity 8715. And no, I don't work for the Simplicity people. I just think it's nice when you're using a commercial pattern, if somebody sees it and they think, ooh, I like that, to make sure you give the right number for it and brand so that they can make it if they want to. So I immediately picked up the pattern because I thought immediately of Elena. Elena is a tween book writer. I mean, she's not a tween, she writes for tweens. But anyway, and she likes to do some fantasy stuff and things like that. And I thought, oh, this seems like something that she would really enjoy. So then I started going through the fabrics and I found this, which is this lovely, looks almost like scales, but it's so shiny and pretty, and I loved it. And I thought that would make a good dragon body. And so I got that. And then there was also some silvery fabric that I thought, oh, that would make good wings or fins or whatever those things are on the back. Scales? I don't know. Anyway, and so I got those, was really excited. And then a few weeks later, I was actually able to see Elena in person, and turns out she had a new tattoo, and that new tattoo happened to be a blue dragon. And I was like, yes, blue dragon. But instead of having silver accents, hers actually had gold accents. And so I went ahead and bought some gold material. And so that is why the dragon is going to be blue and gold to match Elena's tattoo. And when you see the finished product, I'm gonna use view C on this, which is the one that has the like little scales at the back, but I'm not going to put wings on it. And you can see these other two don't have wings either. Her tattoo was a commemoration of the time that she spent in China. So she is getting tattoos of mythical creatures from every country she visits. And so the one for China was the blue dragon, and Chinese dragons don't have wings, so neither does her tattoo, and neither will her stuffy. Now, what I'm gonna do next, I have already cut out the pattern pieces out of the tissue paper that normally the stuff, you know, the normal tissue paper pattern, but I am going to layer over it with the tracing paper and actually trace, because the pieces are so small, and again, that tissue paper stuff can be kind of delicate and easy to tear. So I'm going to make a copy of it out of the tracing paper because I know I want to make this one for her, and I also have a couple of little Chinese friends who also might enjoy having the little dragons. But I will probably make theirs in red. But I don't know, they might like blue. I know one of them likes purple. So who knows what color they will be. But this is going to be my interim project while I wait to make the actual corgi dress for Elena. So this is her episode 3, a dragon to match her tattoo. And now I am going to stop and trace out the pattern. I will do a little bit of ASMR with it. So I got feedback that someone enjoyed hearing me smooth the paper and trace the paper and use the ruler. No ruler for this one because almost all of the pattern pieces are curved. I don't think there are any straight lines on it, but I thought that I would give that a try. And once that's done, I will come back and check in. ASMR bit's over. I learned when I was trying to do the tracing as an ASMR, and I will put that up, that in order for ASMR to work, you have to be quiet and your surroundings have to be quiet. And as someone with ADHD, I sometimes need noise. And at just that moment, someone had to ring the doorbell and alert the dogs. I'll be back. What was I saying? Oh yeah, trying to record ASMR videos. You kind of need a quiet space to do that in. And I don't always have a quiet space because of this little girl here and her sister. I also find it difficult to work sometimes and to think and to concentrate if it's absolutely quiet. But then other times, I need complete isolation and need to wear earplugs in order to be able to think clearly. And I'm never sure when that's gonna be. So ASMR videos, I'm going to do them when I am in the mood to do them. So I'm in the mood to be quiet, and also when it's likely to be quiet in my house. Okay, so enough about that. Now I am going to, so I've got all the pieces cut, all the tracings pieces cut, and now I am going to take a look at the fabric. So I usually wash and iron my fabric before I use it. I know some people insist on it and some people ignore that. I am just one of those people who likes to think I'm working with clean fabric, and I realize that if it just came off the bolt in the store, it's not exactly filthy. But on the other hand, I do like washing it. And while I absolutely despise ironing clothes like shirts and pants, hate that. But there's something about taking yards and yards of wrinkly cotton and ironing it and making it smooth and just seeing the wrinkles disappear. That is therapeutic. Is therapeutic ironing for me. Anyway, so the fabric that I chose, one is a knit that has the like scale pattern on it, it's shiny and blue. The other is gold lame, and when I washed the lame, it started to frizz at the ends, or started to unravel. So I'm going to check into what I might need to do. I don't think I'm going to put interfacing on it, so what I might do is just spray starch it, but I should probably do some investigating before I do that, just in case. And that sound you may be hearing in the background is Mosquito Joe. He showed up to spray our yard, which is good because I don't like mosquitoes and neither do my dogs. Okay, as you probably have guessed, time passed between this clip and the last clip, and time's going to pass again. I decided it would be a good idea to perhaps consult the instructions because it might tell me if interfacing was necessary, and maybe that would help before I went on to look it up for the lame. And one of the first things it says is to reinforce the eye area so that they won't pull through the fabric. And so it does use some fusible interfacing around the eye, and it says I need safety eyes. And while when I was buying this, I was all excited about the fabric for the project, I didn't think about the eyes. So I'm gonna have to buy some. Since she's not a child, I could probably get away with buttons, or I might 3D print something. Maybe that's what I'll do. Maybe I'll go look and see if there's something I could 3D print that would work. Anyway, so I'm looking through and seeing that this is going to be a bit more complicated than I thought it was going to be. Not a surprise. These things turn out that way sometimes. But it does look like I at least understand what's being done, which is a step up from when I'm making garments. Yeah, looks like putting on the legs is going to be the tricky bit. Yeah. Oh, and apparently I will need to hand stitch some of it, which I guess shouldn't be surprising either, considering it's not flat. It's a three-dimensional thing, and it might be hard to get a few of those pieces under the presser foot. Okay, well, now I am back to tracking down the fusible interfacing for around the eyes, and then figuring out something about the eyes, because the eyes do go on earlier than I would have thought. And so I guess I need to do that. Okay, bye for now. I have a bit of a conundrum. Okay, so first of all, this lame looks much golder in real life than it appears on the screen here. But anyway, I did some Googling and I found a lovely video by Professor Pincushion on how to sew with lame. And as I feared, it is apparently too delicate to actually iron interfacing onto because the fabric might melt. And I don't have a serger, so that would make it difficult to enclose the edges. And the other option appears to be I could cut out a piece of fabric as sort of a lining fabric for it to sew. But I'm looking at all these little pieces here for the scales or fins or whatever on the back of the dragon, and I'm looking at how small they are and how when I go to cut that, how fast it's going to fray. Now, she did also have a suggestion to use fray check or spray starch on it, and I'm afraid this spray starch would dull it, and so it wouldn't shine as well. And when I think about fray checking or putting fabric glue around the edges to prevent it from fraying, I'm starting to think maybe I don't love this particular gold fabric as much as I initially thought. It also has wrinkles, and they don't appear to be easy to get rid of. I mean, it is spectacular fabric in person, but look, check this out. Check out the fraying. Yeah. Now, Some people might have said I should not have washed it without checking first, but you know, I washed it and it's too late now. It's just too late now to do anything about it. So I have to decide, do I want to continue with this particular gold fabric and just try to tough it out and, you know, glue around all the edges, or do I want to find a different gold metallic fabric to use instead? And since I have a trip to Joanne scheduled with my friend Canoe, who I'm going to be doing projects for, then maybe I will just pick up some new fabric then. But in the meantime, I could work on cutting out the body. And so that's what I think I will do next. I'm so excited. So I just got back from my trip with Joanne, or to Joanne with my friend Canoe, and I had pretty much decided that the lame is just not gonna cut it. Just not gonna work, especially when I went back and reviewed what Professor Pincushion said about cutting lame and how that can dull your scissors faster and it can also dull your pins. And I thought, you know, I'm not sure I want to do that. Actually, I knew I didn't want to do that. But I thought since I already had the lame fabric, I would go ahead and at my trip to Joanne today, I would check to see if they had any fray check. And they didn't have any fray check. So I thought, well, you know what? I'm going to visit the remnant bin just on the off chance they have something that will work. And that's when I found this glorious fabric. So it is, so is like my vocalized pause. I apologize. I say it a lot. Anyway, found this fabric in the remnant bin and it is absolutely perfect for the dragon project because it is made from the same type of fabric as the body that I'm going to be making out of the blue shiny fabric, but this is just tiny little gold flecks, which I think will look like tiny little scales. I am pumped about this and so glad I am not going to have to fight with the lame. Lame goes back in the stash. Who knows if it'll ever get used. But anyway, very happy about this, and this video is getting long already, so I'm going to try to skip to the good part, which may take a few days, but you won't know that. Time will pass. In my excitement to tell you about the gold fabric, because I was so thrilled that I found it. It was like just waiting for me there. I went by and saw Elena before I met Canoe at Joanne and had Elena try on the mock-up. And she tried it on and it fit. Yay! I kind of wished I'd taken a little bit more care with it because if I had, she could have actually worn it as like a shirt. But I didn't, so water, bridge, gone. Anyway. So it fit, but it was a little tight. And since it wasn't a super stretchy fabric and the corgi fabric isn't quite as stretchy, we're gonna go ahead and size up a size for her before I actually do the corgi dress. So I'll go and retrace the size larger and then I will get to work on that. But before I get to work on that, I will finish the dragon, but probably not for this video because it's getting long and frankly, I am ready to stop with this episode and move on to a new episode. So next time I will have the actual making of and the final reveal of the dragon stuffy for Elena. Bye.